On Sunday, April 7th, the Mayne Island divers took it upon themselves to start doing some work to clean up their docks. The docks had been wrapped with paper, or actually a vinyl, that was meant to allow herring eggs to grow. Unfortunately, it didn't prove out to be successful, so all of this vinyl had to be removed. In amongst all the other things underneath the dock, there's quite a bit of line and ropes from the docking systems that boats use to moor to the harbor. There's a large amount of stuff on the bottom, and it all had to be brought up to people on the surface who took the time to show up and help the divers and pull the various ropes and other things out, and actually to put them into a dumpster so that they could be towed away and disposed of properly. This kind of work requires some real skills diving, because not only do you have to be able to work underwater, you have to be able to work underwater under extremely poor conditions. In this particular case, they're cleaning up in Miners Bay, which is off of Active Pass. Active Pass is a very high current area, so this dive was done at slack tide, and the divers did as much as they could while it was still slack. Once the tide turned, these vinyl wraps turned out to act like sails and were pulling the divers around quite a bit, but they still managed to get it up to the dock, where there were wonderful helpers who were just waiting to allow them to bring their stuff up, and then all that stuff was in turn loaded into a trailer and towed to the recycling yard. The divers all proved to be very competent. There was absolutely no issues with any problems. It was done very safely, and collectively they cleaned up a considerable amount of garbage, probably enough to fill up a dumpster. As you can see, the lines are just tangled around everything. The divers used utility knives and dive knives to cut through and to actually clean all this stuff up. This all provides a much cleaner environment for the dock area, and it makes it much easier for people who are mooring their boats to not get tangled up in the stuff that's already down there. It's quite amazing to see the number of bottles that are down there. A lot of the stuff that was down there was actually left because bottles and that sort of garbage are relatively inert and provide homes for sea creatures. So in this particular case, the focus was not on the little things. There is beautiful life along the pilings. If you take a look at the pilings themselves, often you'll see nudibranchs and all sorts of really interesting creatures that are inhabiting along the dock pilings themselves. So actually the pilings themselves provide a certain degree of habitat. So cleaning them up was definitely a good idea, and it's probably going to be a much healthier marine environment now that that's been done. As you can see, there's little schools of fish that always swim in amongst the kelp that grows down there. It's quite pretty. Usually it's not this murky. This is largely due to the fact that the divers have stirred everything up while they're doing the cleanup. Here you see a cute little crab in amongst the sea stars. The surface support was fantastic. The people on the surface had their work cut out for them. They really were working like on a chain gang, trying to bring up these large pieces of rope and other various things that had been used to tie boats up on the docks and the systems on the docks. It was a commendable experience to see so many people within the island community working together to make for a cleaner environment. And here's a couple of our happy divers.